Welcome back to another Inktober video. Today is day 6 and the prompt is drooling. Or, drooling is the prompt. That makes it sound weird. The prompt can't drool. Moving on. Initially I had two ideas when I thought of this prompt. Drooling while sleeping, or drooling over food. I just did a bedroom in the last prompt, so I decided to go with drooling over food. I've also been kind of trying to do food-related prompts with roasted and chicken, so I was finally going to be able to let my mind just go with that idea. So I decided to keep the bakery theme and then just zoom in on the subject, drooling over some of the baked goods. This would make it simpler while also allowing me to add some detail in the form of the baked goods. The close-up of her face was a lot easier on my wrist, and even the details were a bit more simple this time around. So since I wasn't doing anything vastly impressive other than maybe some minor perspective work with the background there, I decided to try to put a little bit more detail into the food that was in the foreground, as well as the character herself. I'm trying to take it easy on myself this prompt, but I also don't want it to be boring either. For instance, since I wasn't going to be able to do the isometric style, I decided I was going to try to go all out with, 1, the details in the food, and 2, I wanted to try to do a stone floor to kind of call back to the days of the stone or brick ovens that bakeries used to have. But even then, I ended up going with a wood paneling type floor because I felt that it gave it a warmer feel. Almost like a small cottage, even though I actually kind of imagined that this bakery is in the heart of a city, maybe all the more reason for it to have a warm interior. With all the hustle and noise, a nice warm bakery filling the block with the smell of fresh bagels and bread. And you know how places like these can get. If you're not in there at a certain time, then you can just pretty much forget about getting anything freshly baked. Here we have this girl drooling, not just because of the smell, but because she's been craving this for weeks. Maybe she's been researching this place for ages, just trying to find a time that she could get in there before everybody else. And lucky for me, she's so early that I don't have to draw any other customers. With the way that Inktober is set up, I have to do a lot of things in a very short amount of time. As a result, I had to do a couple of prompts in one day. This made it a lot easier to record and to also do the voiceovers and edit and still have time to be able to post it on the day that the prompt was actually supposed to go live. Even though we're only about 6 prompts in, my Copic markers are starting to feel the effect of Inktober already. My neutral gray is really starting to squeak and streak whenever I use it now. Aside from Copic markers being more expensive, even though they can be refilled, the neutral gray would have been a great color to represent the wood paneling on the floor. Either way, because of this, I didn't get to shade with my Copics as much as I usually do, and I would have had to use darker grays. But I wanted the bakery to feel light and airy, and the darker grays may have just been a bit too much contrast. It's pretty surprising how much that neutral gray bridges the gap between the other grays that I use, and like they say, you don't know what you've got till it's gone, or in this case, drying up. As I said before, my wrist was giving me some sass today, so the details are a little lacking. They're just not quite as tight as I'd like them to be. Her hands being one of those details. I would have liked them to have come out a little bit more natural looking. They just kind of look a little loose. It's not horrible, I know, but it's just one of the things that bothers me. But I guess overall, I'm pretty happy with the feel and overall look of this piece. I had to make some adjustments since my Copic marker wasn't going to be as reliable this time around. To work around this, I ended up using a bigger nib for the food in the foreground and then did some hatching with a .005. Typically I don't like to work with nibs this small. I used to ink my entire piece in a 005 or 003, and it was really hard on my hand, and I ended up having to expand the line so much that it was like drawing it like 5 times over. But I thought it might do well for the hatching and shading that I would have normally used with that neutral gray. I still wouldn't be able to use the 005 for larger areas, but these smaller areas it worked pretty well. Because of how small this nib is and my paper is textured, the nib almost skips across the tops of the texture and becomes very spotty. Normally that isn't a good thing, but for what I'm trying to use it for here for shading, it actually has a neat effect. Granted, it would probably still look better if the paper was pretty smooth and these lines could be completely connected, or if maybe, say, my neutral gray was actually working, but I'm making do with what I've got. I also used the 005 for the seeds on the bagel, the sesame seeds, and hopefully that doesn't make them look like ants or something. I think it came out pretty well. Speaking of paper, I'm actually using some pretty bad cardstock paper and it gets really super rough with any level of racing, and for some reason my lead smudges super easy with it as well. I'm already 7 days in though, and if I spring for Bristol now, it will look uniform, and that also bugs me. It's a dilemma. If I was selling these, I probably would have bought Bristol in advance, but that's not the case. I'd really love to try other mediums of traditional art, but right now I just don't have the money to experiment. I've thought about maybe doing an art subscription box, but that'll have to be a little bit later on down the road. Maybe one day I'll splurge and try one out. Watercolor and gouache seem like they're a lot of fun, and I know the craze is over, but Posca pens seem really cool to play with. Even so, I probably wouldn't be able to do too much with it because of my wrist, but I wonder if a brush would actually be easier on it. Overall, I'm really happy with how this came out. I think it was really cute. I like all the food, I like her little expression, I like that she's drooling in that little comical style. I'm going to be trying to polish up these videos a little bit. I need to get a mat and a ruler and check out some Copic markers now. So look forward to a bit more polish on my videos. I'll get the hang of this eventually. It's kind of like finding your own style. Thank you for your time, and thank you so much for stopping by. Check out my channel for the previous 5 prompt videos. I'll leave a link in the description and maybe a card to the last prompt, but for any of the ones before that, you might have to actually go through my channel. There aren't a lot of videos though, so it shouldn't take you too long. Leave any comments and suggestions in the comment section below. I'd love to know what you thought of the video. Just as a reminder, I am uploading every day for Inktober, so I'll see you tomorrow for prompt 7, Exhausted. Just like me. I'm actually kind of excited because I've already planned out to draw 2 of my original characters, and this will kind of be my first time introducing them on my channel. So look forward to it. Bye!